This week's video, we are building these overhead cupboards. So you need these for plenty of storage in your camper van, which is what we found out when we rented one last year. So here we go, let's crack into it. Got to have your nice doors that are spring loaded to make sure they stay closed or open. First step is measure, obviously. So I've got a full sheet of 12mm ply here, just cut in half, and then we're measuring the actual width of the cupboard here, and then clamp on your straight edge. I've just got a long spirit level and mark it up. Next step, cut it. I wish it was that quick, but this is sped up obviously. So now we have a sheet that is the length we require for the cupboards, and then you measure the depth of the cupboard. And straight edge again. Draw the line and cut it. Then the next step is to hold it up in place against the wall and scribe it, as we've done many times with many panels. This just gets it so it fits nice and flush to the back wall. Right. Trim that off, then we have the base in. Job's a good one. Then get your jigsaw out, because the circular saw isn't going to be able to do the curves. So we just cut along that line that we just scribed nicely. Then you cut some battens. This gives it strength and a place to bolt other bits to, basically. So this is the front one essentially that I'm doing. So we've marked that. And then check you've actually cut it to the right length, and it fits nicely. Then you do the same for the side returns, I'm going to call them. And there we go, that's the base. And then we just screw those battens onto the base. Back out the screw a little bit, because I'm not bothering with pilot holes, because they're self-drilling, self-tapping wood screws. So you just make sure you've got a few all the way along. I think I did 5 on here, might have been 4. And then the same for the returns. And the reason we do this is so there's something for the side and the front to bolt to, or screw to, sorry. Because 12mm ply, if you're trying to put a screw in there, you're likely to split the wood. So this just gives you a little bit more to screw into. And then one more batten for the rear.
That's the base done.
And then we move on to the front, which is where the doors are. So again, we're measuring. I'm not sure why I had to measure the full width, potentially to find out if I could get another cupboard in. Mark a few points. Clamp your straight edge down, make sure it lines up, draw along, cut it, get sawdust in your eyes, scribe it, cut that newly scribed line, make sure your clamps fall off the workbench. Now this means measuring the gaps between everything so you've got nice even doors, and then marking the edges of the doors, and then measuring the long bits, we'll call it that, why not? And then use your straight edge again to join those up. and this is where I haven't got the right tool for the job, so I've just got a diamond cutter on my angle grinder, and then you just drop that in. And it's basically burning the wood, as you can see, because this is designed for cutting metal, not wood. But I don't have the right tool for the job, and it's only for a few cupboards, so I'm not going to go out and buy it. But essentially you make a cut on all 4 sides of each of the doors, so 8 cuts, and that is then wide enough to get your jigsaw in. And you end up with a load of burnt sawdust all over you and smoke in your eyes, and it's really uncomfortable, but it gets the job done. Then you cut out the doors. And then sand it a bit, just to take off the rough edges, and chamfer over the corners a little bit, just so it's not so sharp and you're not going to catch your fingers on it. And then to give you a little bit of a gap all the way around, so the jigsaw will have taken enough off probably, but this just gives it a bit of an extra gap. Got an electric planer, borrowed from my dad, and that just takes probably 1.5 mil, maybe 2 mil off. So you do that around all sides. And then I've screwed on the front piece here. You may notice it is now white as well, so we put the undercoat of primer on. And then some upstands, just to give it a little bit more strength, and somewhere for the side pieces to screw into as well. And then you measure how big it needs to be at the edge. Get a piece of thin ply. I think I've gone with 4 mil, maybe 5 mil. Actually, I think it's 4.5 mil. And then you cut that out. And then I've scribed it and cut that so it fits into the van. And then again you screw that. Get your leg over just to give some pressure so you can drill into it without stripping your screws. And then the top one you just sort of pull it so it's in shape and it's all nice and square. And do the same on the other side. And then you've got to create a batten for the top and to hang the doors. That's the top one done, and then this is the one to hang on the doors. So you clamp that one in place. Make sure you clamp it in the right orientation so the hinges can actually fit to it. Whack a few screws in there. I think I did 3. So one in the middle of each of the doors and then one in the middle of the panel. And then you lift it into place with a pencil in your hand. Make sure it's nice and level. Mark a line along the back wall. Make sure you mark the edges as well. And also along the top, and mark the edges again. The reason for marking the edges is so then you know where to mount the batten, because the batten for the top and the back screws to the wall and the ceiling rather than the cupboard. Like this. So you get it nice and lined up with your lines. Hold it in place, whack a screw in. It does make it easier if you put the screws part way into the wood before holding it to the wall. And then just whack as many screws as you like in here, because it's got to hold the weight of the cupboard and anything in it. Give it the wiggle test and you're all good. repeat the same for the batten along the top. And for this one you want to make sure you try and hit some of the battens that go across the top of your van as well. So you can just about see where I put that first screw in. There is a little bit of a line where two roof panels join up, so there is a batten behind that definitely. And then just again whack as many screws as you like in, just to give it that strength. Spread the load, as they say. If I'd been climbing any more than I have been recently, then I might have done a pinch test to try and hang off it, but I've not been climbing much, so I haven't got the strength to do that currently. And then you whack your cupboard on, push it into place, screw one in the top middle, screw one in the bottom middle, tongue, and you just put in extra screws to make sure it's properly attached to the battens. And then you get an assistant, i.e. my wife, to hold the door in place while you screw the hinges for the cupboard in place. And there you have it. And when it's all painted with handles on, it looks like this. So if you like this video, drop a comment and a like, and hit that subscribe button, as it really helps me. Not sure what's next, potentially the shower, but we'll see. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.